Namaste. I am Dr. Robert Henry Schwenk, aka Dr. Bob for You, coming to you from Norwalk, Ohio, and Studio for You. All the information you might like to have can be found at the end of this video. Your comments and questions are always welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, you can make a comment in the comment section below. Today's topic is the meaning of life, which is to be happy, and what we tell ourselves. Ed shambled into my office. He seemed to be a very relaxed character with his clothing in slight disarray. He seemed as one who was in a perpetual weekend around the house. I asked him what was happening in his life. He said, "I just don't like that there isn't any meaning in my life. I have goals and all of that, but where do the goals lead?" I said, "Well, to undertake your challenges, I need a short history. Tell me about your life." It was a lengthy tale that wandered all over the map. Here are some of the main ideas. He remembered being punished severely when he could not understand the spelling of the words soldier and shoulder. This incident in his childhood stuck in his memory. He recalled how he had spilled some milk on the dinner table. His father punched him on one side of his head, which knocked the other side of his head against the wall. The following day there was a knot on both sides of his head. And then he told how his stepmother banned him from participating in any after-school programs or clubs because she knew what kids did when left alone with each other. When parents' night came around and he was on the varsity team, his folks just didn't bother to show up. He had to run onto the field all by himself. I have only related some of Ed's life history. Storytelling is as old as humankind and the development of language. Long before the written word was developed, we sat around fires at night and told stories. Some stories passed the time. Some stories were to prepare younger generations. Some stories were based in truth. Some stories were complete fables. The point of your knowing Ed's story and storytelling in general is this: we are the stories we spin. Those stories are the drama we cherish for ourselves in our memories. We are what we tell ourselves. Some of those stories are true. Some we believe are true. Some fabrication or myth may have stolen into what we think. Whether truth, partial truth, or fiction, we are the stories we tell of ourselves. For Ed, his life narrative was what he told himself. He recited to himself his tale of parental maltreatment and negligence. Certainly Ed's childhood was not as bad as some kids have, but his left Ed scarred. When he conveyed this story of hurt, he relived all that negativism. So instead of happiness or contentment, he felt only worthlessness. If his parents caused him physical and psychological pain, that must be Ed's lot in life. He must have thought that way. The only meaning he had in his life was abandonment and humiliation. He was still carrying the weight of his childhood, even though he was an adult of some 45 years of age. He kept rehearsing his story of negativity. He did not think of himself as worthy of happiness and meaning. He could not fathom that they might be part of his just due. He repeated and repeated his negative story of himself and his worth. What could I do to help? I said to him, "Ed, you have developed this autobiography to the dismissal of other potentialities. You rehearse with yourself your negative story. Don't get me wrong, Ed, you had a rough childhood, but you give so much value, negative though it is, to your history. You cannot find happiness or meaning now. You've got to change your story. Only when you give more value to your life as it can be now will you find happiness and meaning. Anything only has the value you give it." "But all these things happened to me," Ed said. I said, "I believe you, but today is the time for change when you want meaning and happiness." I gave Ed some homework, actually writing out what was positive in his life. I asked him to write out what he really wanted to give value to. We met 6 more times. Each session we retold Ed's present-day history, which was quite good even though he had given superior value to his past. The idea for you is this: if you have a negative past to which you have given undue value, cease. Start a new story of who you are right now, using your mature mind and looking positively at your present history. Release the past. I did not say discard your memories. You may need or want to keep them. I mean that your inner history is truer now, and it is true as you give it value now. When you give events and thoughts of yourself affirmative weight now, you start down the path of meaning and happiness. This has been Dr. Bob for you. Remember, please, comments and questions are always welcome. May you and all sentient beings know happiness and the root of happiness. Namaste.